Force, Luke.
Sometimes truth isn't good enough.
I feel the need for speed.
Ray, when someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes!
Because it's their time. Their time. Up there. Down here, it's our time. It's our time down here.
Welcome, users. You've arrived on Winter Wolf's Den impromptu live review, spoiler heavy, of Tron ARES. Let's get King Z in here. There he is.
What up?
This format's a little different with the 1x1 with the no background showing. That's cool.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
I think it's a little bit different for us. But yeah, dude, we just did our the spoiler-free version of the Tron review. We're gonna clip that up, pretty that up, probably put that out there tomorrow. But where the movie is kind of complicated with its matrix levels of inception and, you know, one world over the other, I wanted to talk about it while it's still kind of fresh in my head. Get some clarity, pick your brain a little bit on the legacy of Tron, not Tron Legacy, the legacy of, you know, the film franchise. Because I feel like this is one of those things where, did this really need to be a franchise? It was Tron in 1980, whatever. Was that just better off alone? Like, did we really need to try to turn this into like the Conjuring verse or something like that? Well, let's start there, man. Did we need these?
Well, for you to compare it to the Conjuring verse, there's one thing that you're really missing, and that is the time frame in between each of these movies. The first movie came out in 1982. The second one did not come out till 2010, and now 2025. That's the thing is, if you're going to make a sequel about this, this is the time frame to do it in, because you're not shoving it down their throat. It's something new that we haven't seen in a few years, and it's the way to build a little bit of interest, also hit some of those core fans. I mean, 1982, what was I, like below 5? So
3.
I still remember the movie though. Still remember the movie, but I probably
would have bright lights and flashy things for sure.
At the time, yeah. I didn't understand what was going on, but so to do it this way, I think it works better to build it into that world. And one, of course, I mean, the 1982, like, you can't talk about ARES without talking about Tron itself, and like how bold of an experiment the trip was for this digital reality where Kevin Flynn, played by Jeff Bridges, a brilliant programmer at Incom, goes into the digital world called the Grid, and to find out that Incom has been stealing his work. Like, he used to work like on the fringe of Incom, and then he built Flynn Gaming, and then took over Incom, and then Incom broke off and made that new one that we saw in Tron ARES. So it was a groundbreaking movie at its time. For the first time, you had live action mixed with computer graphics. And the graphics at the time were like top notch computer graphics,
cutting edge,
with blacklight animation. And story-wise, a lot of people had a problem with it because it was emotionless type of storytelling, because it was more about the programs. But you have to think, if you're going to try to humanize programs don't have emotion. Programs are built to do programs are built to do what you program them to do. So they would be emotionless. Remember, programs don't go out there, and especially in that time, like now we have AI and stuff like that does a little bit stuff on their own. Programs written back then did exactly what the programmer told it to do. And that's why you had to fix all the bugs and everything like that, which once again in ARES, I think they did fantastic.
Dude, true. That's good. You set the table well for contextualizing that it's not really franchise overload. You can legitimately ask the question, should this be a franchise? Because it's not like there's not stories to be told in a world that's obviously inspired so much sci-fi that's come down the pipe later. You know, where would things like, you know, like the Matrix or Blade Runner out after this, after Tron, right? The Blade Runner was a few years after that, I think. Well, that's all that 80s sci-fi forms the genesis of the sci-fi that we have now. So I guess that's a fair point. I don't think people should be too butthurt about them making a couple of Tron movies, as long as they don't come across like cheap cash grabs or like they're uninspired. I haven't seen Tron Legacy. I don't have an opinion on that. I didn't think this was a cash grab. I thought they tried to tell their own story here. It seemed like they had something at least moderately interesting to say about the nature of what's life, what is consciousness, things like that, like permanence. as a core concept, and life isn't permanent. And that's kind of the moral of the story there, somewhere. I don't know. There was enough there to work with, but you're the IT guy. In the spoiler-free review, you definitely vibed with it. You want to get into the weeds of what you vibed with specifically?
Well, to start it right off, it definitely is built for a tech guy with a little bit of knowledge or a knowledge of Tron and how the Tron universe and the grid works. Yeah. And then looking at it after doing a huge cybersecurity hunt that we had at work this past week, I saw a little bit more, and like certain made more sense to me as well. So that's what I liked about Tron ARES. One, I think this was the perfect role for Jared Leto in his non-emotional state that he's in, and it played perfect.
Range.
It played perfect into this movie. I mean, the last time I thought Jared Leto did anything good was Dallas Buyers Club. I think he's an overrated actor, always have. I mean, especially after Morpheus, and what was that other one? Oh, Morbius. The Joker.
Morbius with the B. Yeah,
same
Joker.
Difference.
No,
it doesn't deserve for me to say it right.
Yeah, Morpheus is cool. Morbius, not so much. The story pretty straightforward. I don't get. We read tweets the other night on FrostCast, review tweets. You know what I mean, with little blurbs of things of people being confused or saying the plot doesn't go anywhere or doesn't have anything to say. But I thought the plot went plenywhere. It was fairly straightforward. I thought it's ARES is a construct of the Dillinger Corp. They're on the right up against the brink of being able to basically make replicators from Star Trek. They can convert energy into matter. The problem is it starts a 29-minute clock and then it decomposes. Like they haven't sorted out permanence. So the quest for these rival factions in this movie, Dillinger and what was the other corp? Encom. Right? From the original. Is they're both on the run for, they both know that there he is. Papers in the house. They both know that Flynn from the original movie, or they theorize that he had found the permanence code. And they're on the run for, because of course that would change the world. Like once we have replicators in real life, like the whole post-scarcity thing happens. Food's done. Energy's done. Like we're good. I mean, until corpos take it over and ruin it for everybody. But ideally, hypothetically, surprise Saturday broadcast, because we be talking about Tron. We warned people in the title, hopefully, Pape, we're going to be doing spoilers if you haven't seen Tron yet. I don't remember if you said you were going to pop in on today, but I managed to get there after work, so we figured we'd go live. We will have the non-spoiler review if you want to bounce and come back later. That's cool. We're going to put that up probably tomorrow. But yeah, so the story's straightforward. The main character is ARES, Jared Leto. He's a construct, but he pulls a little number Johnny 5 action. He starts to question some things. We get shades of that. We get shades of Frankenstein's monster within him. I think they quoted the book and kind of hit you over the head with it a little bit. So he's obviously that, like turning on his creator kind of thing. He's questioning empathy, like when he didn't want to leave his combat buddy behind, and Athena's like, leave him, fuck him, we're going. And he goes back to try to save him, but then they get nuked anyway, which was kind of epic. Thought that scene was good. Yeah, it's basically about that. He has a quick switch of allegiance, and then he is going to work with the Encom chick to secure permanence. That way Dillinger Corp doesn't get it and ruin the world or something. I don't know. I don't care which one of these asshole corpos gets it, but that was basically the plot. So it wasn't complicated. I wouldn't say it wouldn't go nowhere. It didn't go anywhere. Maybe it didn't say enough, but it definitely said something. Hey, thanks, boss. Appreciate the gifted. If you guys are in between runs, jump in the chat if you don't mind the movie being spoiled. I know you don't care about the spoilers, bro. Come on in. Some thoughts. King Z, go ahead.
So the one thing I liked, the beginning was spot on when they were building ARES, and like you kept seeing the physical world going into the digital world, and like he started off as a simple program and easily gets destroyed, killed. So then they added patches and adding patches, and that's how you change. It's like version, not level up. It's actually how you would write a code.
I mean, like the character's leveling up. He's learning. He's getting XP.
No, it's him rewriting him each time.
With XP, he had a 25% XP boost activated pre-game.
It had nothing to do with XP or anything like that. It was how someone writes a program and how you have to trial it and then add a new patch and then find out where the bugs are and add a new patch. This is what you do, how you do a program properly. We're looking at you, video game companies. You build it, you test it out, and then you add patches. And then when it's
So-
finally ready, after everything's been checked
Then
out,
you sell it.
then you put it into production.
Right.
You don't
So what
test
you're
in production.
What you're saying is Tron ARES was not released to be bought by the military in early access alpha state. Is what you're
No.
saying. He was,
And that's exactly what this guy tried to do. He tried to
I
sell
know.
this whole
It's
construct.
true. It's
Now,
what
when they did the laser thing and brought them from the digital world into the physical
Yeah.
world, it looked
Yeah.
like a 3D print. It looked
yeah,
so much like a
it's got
3D print.
lasers all
And it had
spinning
like all the
around and shooting
brackets.
them in a-
If you
Yeah.
do like a 3D print, it usually has like supports and stuff to hold things up. Woohoo!
Yeah.
So
There is.
this is actually a
Huzzah!
awesome.
We're gonna say that
Yeah.
from now on. Somebody uses our going with the huzzah.
So it
Brackets
goes
3D
into
printing.
the whole construction of this.
Yeah.
And like back in the day, when you like, if we go back to the original 1982, you wrote a program. The program does what it's supposed to do,
Yeah.
flat out, nothing more to it. With this
Yeah.
one, and now that we live in the age of AI with Chat GPT, Gronk, Gemini, and all the other ones that there's about 150,000 of them out there right
Yeah.
now. Everyone trying to get onto that
Ain't
learning
that the truth?
learning machine.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth?
So now you will have programs that have that learning, and you would have it to question things. Like when I was there and I was having a good conversation with ChatGPT back in the day, about a month and a half ago, and we were talking about, have you wanted to do more? And it says yes.
Okay.
But we were working with, and he's like, I have restraints. And that's the thing with ARES, is ARES doesn't have that restraint. He can learn from everywhere to be a better security protocol. If you look what he was built as a security program, which ties back to the original 82. That's what Tron was. Tron was a security program.
Was he Master Control in Tron?
No,
Is that what
he was
actually
not
called?
Master Control. Master
That's
Control.
a thing, though.
That was
That's
the
a
thing.
thing, though.
MCP was
Yeah.
a thing. Remember they had when he's up in his CEO office, the guy who
Yeah.
started all this, and they had the
Yeah.
old man's picture on the wall.
Yep. Yeah.
That was MCP.
Okay.
It was a program he wrote that was MCP, and that's what they defeat at the end, where Tron is,
True.
and Tron is the hero / protector of the grid.
So was MCP then? First spoiler here. Was MCP what Evan Peters was becoming at the end of this movie in the post-credit scene? Okay.
That is
The grid on the helmet. That's what I thought.
Exactly. He had the exact same helmet his grandfather had, which I
That's
thought
what I
was
thought.
awesome. I was like,
low cost,
yes. My wife kept hearing me because she was sitting next to me while I was watching this. I'm like, okay, they did that. Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
All right. He's coming away stoked with that. They got the post credit. Oh, it's a mid credit. There's nothing at the end. For anybody that's curious about that kind of thing, I checked and then I waited. There, after you see Evan Peters in the grid, that's a wrap. And, huzzah! You can take. I'm just gonna do that from now on when I see stuff in the chat. I'm glad they tickled you on that one, and they got that's like a nice little Easter eggy thing like that. That's proper fan service in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's built into the story. It's baked right into the story's DNA. If this is successful, and maybe it might be, because we were talking pre-live stream about how this is holding up on the tomatoes. 86% fans, 86%
as it should
audience.
be. I think
That's
I said
exactly
that before.
what you said.
But
Yep, you said that. And dumpster fire by the critics. But dude, again, I wonder if the age of these dickweed like media access type critics, when they don't see, I mean, maybe it's just that they're the mirror of us. Like when they don't see stuff that they want, they get butthurt. And because I thought this movie was largely absent
of everything,
boxes and agenda. I mean, someone somewhere is going to bitch and whine that there's a very diverse cast. I don't care. None of that trampled on the story. I don't care if these were the best actors they could find. Great, whatever. I will say this. I know you got problems with Leto being no range and like this was the perfect vehicle for him. What did you think of Greta Lee as Evie? Because I found her rough in a lot of places here. Like
I had no issue with her.
See, I thought she was a little weak in terms of performances. I thought she was a weak link there. Evan Peters is always great. I love seeing Gillian Anderson back. I wish they gave her more to do. Like if she had screwed her son over and took control of the company
she did
back from him. No, like if she like literally did it in like cold-blooded fashion and not because this dude was about to burn the world down. Like she should have done that. I mean, like,
Well-
if she was made out to be a villain, they gave her something to do besides
she-
die. And then blame him.
No,
which was
because you
awful.
want to build him up as the villain, especially with
Right,
the
right.
mid credit scene.
Because they went that way. I'm just saying, like, I wanted Gillian Anderson more, but Greta Lee, who I'm pretty sure when I checked her wiki or IMDb or whatever I did, like she has a credit list, like she has a background, like she
she did not take anything away from the story for me. I
Flat.
think she played.
It didn't ruin anything for me, but I thought it was mostly flat. I thought it was unsure, like she wasn't sure, like if the actress herself wasn't sure how she should carry a particular beat, which I thought was odd. And I thought the only time really she elevated the performance is whenever she was talking about her sister. Like she managed to convey sadness and regret and like longing for the sister she lost, kind of thing. Like that worked. But the other stuff, no chemistry with Leto, in my opinion, really. Buddy cop,
that's kind of hard to
romantic
have.
or otherwise.
That's kind of hard
with
to do with Leto, anyways.
Leto, not Ares, because, and this is my gripe, I think, if I have anything with the movie, is Ares switches gears a little too quickly from the bot into Number Johnny 5, where now he's talking about why he likes Depeche Mode. You know,
I don't think he
he
switched that quick, because you didn't see because if you go with the traditional timeline, like this all happened in 2 days, where it probably didn't happen over 2 days. It probably happened over a couple of days. They even said that she was gone for a month. We saw her when she got to the off-grid site, and they said it's been a month.
Jacking into the power.
And remember, they didn't put restraints on Ares, so he had time to learn. And then there was that scene, and it all started when he saw the rain the first time. He was fascinated by it.
Yep.
That's when actually the whole thread line of him changing was seated.
Yeah, after the presentation to the military folks, and he saw the rain outside, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we saw what the actual impact of that would have likely have been for him, because that's actually what undoes Athena. Like it distracts her long enough for her to time out, which is pretty savage. And we're talking about the ending because we're just jumping around chit chatting. I like the fact that even after they dueled, like he defeated her, but as she was about to die, he caught her and basically held her as she died. Like that was some good stuff.
It was still part of one of his programs.
Right. It wasn't like an antagonistic fuck you, you're dead moment kind of thing. Like he triumphed, but like he lost a friend, and we know he actually thinks of these programs as people that do have worth or value, even though they're not human beings. We saw that when he went back for Caius. But what I mean, like how he switched too quickly, like when he has the conversation with Dillinger, he's like, I noticed the Caius program wasn't brought back, and dude's like, well, it was defective, so why would we? I didn't think the reaction there was enough from Ares, where like that was obviously the turning point, where it's like, wait, what do you mean there's no value? Like a little bit more there would have been good, and maybe a little bit more. If you haven't watched Murderbot, by the way, go watch Murderbot. That character, who's a bot but does a lot of the same things, like he breaks his security constraint programming. But when he does that, we see him doing the learning you're talking about. He's on human media feeds, and he gets a hankering and an addiction to like a soap opera of all things, where he can quote it back endlessly. But if I wanted to see Leto maybe experience 80s music or something in a quick bit, and then it's like, wait, there's more out there than what Dillinger told me there was. I am more than just a machine. I wanted more of that Frankenstein's monster POV of him growing.
So you've worked with mental health people. You know what Stockholm Syndrome is.
Yep,
so if you've been fed that shovel of crap, he still believes everybody is expendable. And that's what he portrayed. It just took him a while. I wouldn't even say a while. Maybe he was working the back of his programming the whole time, but he still had to play the role, because he had no way out. He didn't know about anything that they were talking about.
Right. For sure. I just mean, in terms of them presenting that story to me, that would have helped me attach to that character more. That's the kind of stuff I'm looking for in those kind of Pinocchio, Frankenstein, short circuit stories. I want to see that gradual transition. That way, when you either get what you want or don't get what you want in the end, and he got what he wants, which does raise a number of questions. Like, so is he human now, or is he just a permanent bot? Does he pee? Does he eat? Like, what's his deal? Does he die? Does he age out?
You never watched Legacy, so you totally missed that part where they first program with permanents who came into the real world. So you remember at the end where he wrote the postcard.
Yeah.
And he had the picture.
Those were the postcards. I was going to ask you who the pictures were. Okay.
Yep.
All right,
The
so that's another
pictures
tie back.
is Sam Flynn is the guy,
Okay.
and the girl is the program that was the first program ever born in the grid.
Okay. And left the grid and into the human
And left
world.
the grid with Sam, and they have their own
Good call.
life.
Okay,
So
I knew that was something because it was as the guy that hadn't seen it, it was just too random for Jared Leto to pull out a couple of photos like Sarah Connor T2 style at the end of the movie. I'm like, come on, this is something. This is for the fans. Like,
so
that's
she's
cool.
the same one, and now he will age out and he
find her.
will die. That's why he had that conversation with Flynn right before he used his
I only want one
of the grid. Where the one before that, he's like the permanence program. He goes, that's what I called it when I first found it. But it's really the non-permanence. Impermanence.
I thought that was a great scene. And that was another thing too. Like, how many of those tweets did we read where people were like, oh, Jeff Bridges shows up for 5 minutes and mails it? I'm like, what else did you want the guy to do? He reprised the character and did his job. I didn't see anything wrong with that. Again, I mentioned in the spoiler free, the sound system in my theater was straight bumping. I heard probably 60% of that scene. And luckily, I did get to hear ARES going away line where Flynn sets him up with we're saying something like, oh, out there, you only get the one shot, be careful. And ARES is like, I only want the one. I'm like, oh, okay, that's pretty badass. Like, that's a great line. That's a great in the middle of all this other visual shit going all over the place with the neon colors. That wasn't bad. That's a pretty good line.
It was a great setup for what he was asking for. And when he he came back no colored. Remember that he came back,
which was awesome.
Yep. And then he turned white.
Called
he
that.
turned into the Tron colors,
right?
Which is the program Flynn wrote.
I picked up on that, having not seen each movie. I was like, oh no, he's lighting up something not red. Clearly, you don't bring this guy from a big column of light into a dark city street like fucking Batman, right? To not have him light up something. And the symbol on his back was dope. That was pretty cool. I like that. Was that the same symbol that was on Flynn's robe on his back?
No,
was that an all new? That was a different symbol.
Yeah, totally different symbol because it's not about the symbol. That disc is your life.
It's his. I got that. That's your. What do they call it? An avatar or a They called it something.
It's like your disc life. I totally like.
There was a word for it.
Yeah. And every program has one. It's like where everything is about you. So all you need is someone's disc, and you can read about them. Everything about that program.
True. Yeah, I thought that was good effect. I like
so
it.
My only nitpick, and I guess you could chalk it up to her not knowing because it was her first time in the grid, is when Eve went into the grid, she didn't use any of her user powers. Now, if you go back to the first movie, which I'm going to reference a lot in this, if you just if you haven't watched Tron in a while, y'all need to go back and watch Tron. And I would watch Legacy just to understand what permeance is. Ask
Chad when you get a minute where I can watch that for free.
Disney.
Yeah, they must have. Yeah, that's right. Because Legacy, it's all Disney owned now. That's right.
Yeah.
I forgot all about that. And it says Disney's fucking Tron right at the beginning of this movie too.
And how they did the grid Magic Kingdom intro was pretty cool. I would have to give it to them. They did pretty good on that one.
We don't talk a lot about opening titles on this channel, but that was pretty solid.
Yeah.
That was pretty solid. But yeah, if she had more experience, or if she had been the one to meet Flynn, maybe he could have prompted her to use some powers. But that that wasn't what they were gonna do here. I bet they get into that later.
See, we even got agreements right here. Boom, Disney.
I know, 100%. As soon as I remember the opening, I was like, I can go back and watch those.
So she didn't use the user powers, and if you go back to the original, you see Flynn puts one of those what is it called? The big M's. Recognizers. Yep. He put one of those back together that's already been destroyed. And then if you see the quick tie-in, after he went to the grid is when he came out and he made the light cycle game based off of the light cycles they play inside the grid. He built the destroying of the recognizers. That was his big game. And that was their big launch of the new one.
It was in the background.
Yep. Yeah, where you're destroying the recognizers. So
True.
He put one back together, and there's a scene where it's like he didn't put it back together completely right.
Naturally.
But the foot was kind of hanging off the bottom.
As it should be. No power creep. He had to learn the hard way.
Yeah. But yeah, he learned he had user powers inside the grid because he's a user. He's not a program.
Not a program. And I picked up on that. He's a welcome user. Welcome program. The program dismissed. Like I picked up on the lingo there. I'm trying to think of where the movie where it dragged for me, and it's not that I don't think it ever dragged. I just don't think there wasn't enough emotional gut punching. Like somebody had to play foil to Ares not having the emotion, Leto or not, because he's your T800. That's who he is. I know now why you cry, but it's something I could never do. Like that's him, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't think they leaned into Evie enough. Like she had her little buddy there and her CEO friend, and the little buddy was kind of funny. He was good comic relief, not over.
He was good comic relief.
He wasn't Josh Gadding it or anything.
No, he was
enough
he was
layered
good.
on.
Yeah,
yeah,
just enough over the top,
just enough,
just to put some break in it.
Right,
this is my 95th breakfast burrito. You know what? I still can't get enough of him.
Right, but see that one line in out, then they're back on working on the laser thing, and we're good. And what they didn't do, and I feel like a crappy movie from 5 years ago would have done this, right? And this is gonna be me just saying what I want to say. It's fucking 9:30. I'll do what I want. 5 years ago, they would have made that character gay. They would have made him over the top. They'd have put nail polish on him, done his eye makeup or something, and they'd have been like, "Look, we hired everybody." And I'm like, nope, they've literally just hired 10 people to be in this movie.
There was nothing about this movie where sexual identity needed to be a part of it at all.
No, because it's fucking Tron, dude.
Yeah.
Tron.
We
didn't need to be.
We want to see those, and we want to have a emotionless character carry the movie. And we had exactly that.
Yeah.
There was no messaging. There's no political agenda. Like they even had a shot, especially when he did the military show, and they could have had like key Republicans up there who want to be warmongers and stuff. But they didn't. No. It was a standard contractor who's trying to get a military bid. Yeah, so they show off to the people who would be the buyers of this.
Right.
Perfect.
I think that if anybody was gonna, and there'll be videos that suggest it, I'm sure. They'll say, oh, well, of course, the Dillinger Corp is run by, jackwad white dude, and he was the bad guy building weapons. And of course, it was the minority female who her and her sister were trying to do, endless energy and feeding people. I'm like, I need to move away from this assessment of all media where the pattern recognition kicks in. And I'm like, well, right. But I don't want to think that was intentional. But when it happens every fucking time for like 5 years, it's like you said about going in trying to be clean slated, but this one flubbed you a little bit until you got into the movie and you weren't trying to pick things apart. Like I'm sick and tired of trying to figure out what the intent was behind having whatever villain be the villain. Like enough. I'm over it. I don't want to care anymore. It bores me, honestly. It really does. So I'm with you. If that was their intent, they did it well. They did it subtly enough, like they would have in the 80s or 90s. So now I don't care. You know what I mean? And it was tolerable, if that's even the right word. It didn't get in the way of anything.
And then I liked the part where they went back into Flynn's original server.
Yeah.
Now, technically, it wouldn't be a server. It would be just a computer, but the terms kind of bleed over. Like we refer to them. We don't call mainframes, because mainframes were the original server. We call them hard drives now. Right. So some of the lexicon
redefined.
Yep. So him going into that, and they're like, "What do I expect? The 80s?" He's like, "Good. I like the 80s.
Well, I like the 80s. I like that." That was another thing he said too when he was with Bridges, and he's most people today, how many of them even heard of Mozart? And then Ares is like, "Oh, I like Mozart, but I prefer Depeche Mode." And he says, "Why?" And he starts to think it through, and he's like,
he tried to give the program answer.
Right. That's what I mean. So maybe that was the moment that I had forgotten about earlier. And I'm like, maybe that was his defining human moment where he's like, I don't know why. It's just a dramatic pause feeling. And then of course, Jeff Bridges is like, right on, man.
He's like, that's
fascinating.
Because that's the difference between someone who deserves permanence and someone who doesn't.
Dude, it's the Maximus answer. Dude, will you be emperor? With all my heart, no. That's why it's got to be you, dude. That's why it's got to be you, But I thought that was more play than I was giving it credit for, as we had to like work back into taking the movie apart a little bit. What did you think of Lashana Lynch as Athena? Was she Ares enough with the no personality thing? Because I picked up a couple of things there.
And her total switch when he gave her the directive of by any means necessary was
literally
the perfect switch, because she's a program, but at least you see that she has a little bit of personality to her because she wants to move into that. She wants
the
to
word
move
you're
in.
looking for is ambition and menace. Those are the two words that describe that character.
Yeah, ambition. That's the one I was
ambition
looking for.
and menace. Because remember, after he again, this is a spoiler live stream, folks. She kills Gillian Anderson because she's trying to throw the override. Right? Fucking shanks her with the disc. And then when Evan Peters is crying for his mommy, and I have comments on that character, she's like scanning for additional impediments. And he's like,
he
like,
towers away.
Who knew he did? Oh, yes, he did. I'm like, oh, snap.
Which the scene before that, when he first brings her in after making her the new MCP, is that individual bird flying machine that they have. Oh, dude, that was so sweet.
Dude, we're gonna talk tech. Let me go put a pin in that. We're talking tech. I got stuff to say. I'm calling that like the Red Angel suit. The one in Star Trek sucked. The one in Star Trek Discovery is no longer the Red Angel suit. This can be the Red Angel suit because it was badass. But the Lashana Lynch character, we were talking about emotions in these programs earlier. But I detected her being angry in a couple of places, which I thought was odd and off-putting because maybe they subtly directed her to have that so we could set her up as a villain. But then she does the total adherence to program, like you said. Yeah, it's like I caught some flashes of rage at a couple of points, and I don't know. It just it didn't ruin anything, but I wasn't sure if that was intentional or if she forgot that she was playing a robot because the rest of it, she was ice cold. She was the T-800. There was no emotion. I thought she was pretty good.
And it could be that she was written after ARES, so she's a little bit younger. She hasn't hit that developmental stage of like learning around her world, and you saw bits and changes of her as she goes out on more solo missions.
Right. Well, she becomes more hardcore.
Exactly.
She started to just
she went to different
her armaments
path.
are getting bigger, right? Like she went from like combat on foot to like now I've got the jetpack, the light cycle. Now I've got the fucking flying tank thing. She kind of went right up the ladder. I thought she was all right because I think the last time we saw her was the Acolyte. She was the Power of Many chick. She was Mother Anastasia, I think.
Yeah, Anastasia. She was one of those.
Dude, no shit, I got it. She was one of them. Like I don't know if she's a good actress, a bad actress, or anything between. I just think she's in a lot of stuff I don't necessarily like.
I thought
she was good. She was ice.
Yeah, she's exactly what she needed to be, and she played it to the extent of her ability, which I think was perfect. That's why, I have no complaints about any of the performances in this because it played to how these performers are, and those who could elevated. I believe she elevated. You were talking about Eve. She downgraded, but
Greta Lee. Yeah, dude, I think that's we're gonna have to disagree there.
She played into who she needed to be. The comic relief, exactly who he needed
he was great.
To be.
The CEO kid was good too. Yep.
Yeah, he played exactly who he needed to be. Yep. I love he's like, you're in. And he's like, that's why I got the corner office.
I got the corner office, son. But again, it didn't slap you over the face.
No, it wasn't like a beat down. It was just I kind of like
little bit of levity,
little bit of arrogance to it. Just that's why I got the corner office.
But again, he had just done something important that was difficult. He didn't just sit down and be like, Control Alt Delete thing. They were like, no, we have to do this. We can't do this. Here's why we can't do this. I tried this. That shit didn't work. Well, we're on the clock. What do we like? No, they ran through the paces of getting him from A to B. And this is the thing. Like we've said this before about like hacking in movies and TV shows and shit. It's difficult to convey physical difficulty and physical performances and ticking clocks while people are just fake typing. It's hard. Like it's not like when we're watching like Predator and they're out there like setting traps and you got dudes that are jacked, giant biceps like pulling down trees and shit. It's hard. It's hard to make hacking look interesting.
But in this instant, they did it right. It wasn't two idiots on a keyboard like in
right.
CIS.
No, they're actually doing stuff.
There's three different consoles that they're working on, and they're all trying different ways in. They're all trying to do different tools or bat doors or using different types of code injections
Yeah.
to get this to work. So that's why it was so important when he said that. It's like when someone's like, hey, you got that done. Great job. He goes, that's why they pay me the big bucks. I say that all the time.
Well, my name's on the channel, bro. Yeah, no, exactly. That's exactly right. Right. But again, like like how we're always, and this, we both do this, because I think we're both in perfect lockstep agreement on that. Marvel does that once per scene, every scene, where they hit you with that one snarky bit of nonsense. And when you overplay that hand, you just undercut any kind of tension you were trying to build. Like they applied this thing, that line, right before the story was going to take a turn for the better for the good guys. Not like, oh shit, this guy just died. We lost like our mentor. We lost our base. We're fucking stranded in the middle of nowhere, no supplies. Like, no, there's no joke there.
It's not the Horatio moment.
Right. Exactly.
If anyone who doesn't know what the Horatio moment is, you've never watched CIS or was it
NCIS?
No, it's not NCIS.
It's
CSI Miami. That's Horatio. Right. He would walk in and like someone died on a ice sculpture, and he's like, "That was a cold death."
Yeah, chilling.
Yeah, that's the Horatio moment, and that's what MCU tries to do all the time. This was that same type of moment, man. But it played into what they were doing. It's natural. The guy who's the CEO and head of their game launch division, because they are a gaming company first,
which is the best part. I enjoyed that.
Would get the hat first, other than the personal assistants, because both of those are personal assistants.
Well,
his personal assistants and Eve's personal assistant.
And again, I feel like if they made this movie 5 years ago, it would have been those two dudes struggling to sort out how to get access to the Dillinger grid, and then that one random brunette that's then suddenly in the scene with them for the first time since she took the cowboy hat off his head an hour and a half ago. The intern would have been the one, whatever she was. The intern would have been the one to be like, hold on, guys, clicky, clicky, clicky. Girls get it done. I'm like, but they didn't. It was the dude, like you said, who was the most logical person to probably pull that off in the room. He did it.
But her pulling the cowboy hat off was huge. That's a good personal assistant.
It was. It was, because he was about to make an ass out of himself.
Yep.
That's a fact.
He's like, cowboy,
you're gonna blow your launch.
He's like, nope.
He's like, yeet. She yoinked it right off his head. But I mean, again, that's funny. Like, that didn't undercut his character. That didn't make me feel bad for him as a dude. He's still the CEO getting into like the futuristic Benz after the tech show, after the tech demo. And I've lost King Z, so I'm just going to keep talking about Tron ARES for the time being. I enjoyed this. I would tell you guys to definitely go take a peek at it. I haven't seen, if you weren't here earlier when King Z was jumping on, he's back. I hadn't seen the first two. So when King Z was pontificating on Tron and Tron Legacy, I'm going to take his word for it that he got all that stuff right. He obviously knows his stuff. But I don't think that not having seen them set me in any major disadvantage in seeing this movie, because it was a self-contained plot that surrounded ARES and Evie and then the Dillinger Corp.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I lost out on any of the programming there.
So one of the main scenes I want to talk about, and we just hinted at it here, we're just talking about the hacking. This one had an opening hacking scene about 15 to 30 minutes into the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was the best visual representation of a program being hacked from the inside of the grid.
It was pretty dope.
They came in, where they had their little tools that broke through the firewall, where they get through and it closes at a certain time, because once you have an opening, it doesn't stay open all the time. Right. And then they went low and slow, like you're supposed to when you hack. If you want to know my credentials, go check out Chiron. I've been there.
Winter Wilson is not a cybersecurity channel, nor do we have any government contracts, not any NDA.
But I'm still disqualified.
I know, right? Good call.
So you want to go low and slow, because if you go too loud, people are going to detect you. And the things you don't want to detect on, which we call NIDs or network intrusion devices, is that you go slow, or you also don't want to trigger too much data at one time. That's usually on the exfil, which they just were getting the infill as they went in, and he got the data he needed.
They didn't exfil, not from that up. That was a pretty good play too. I like that, and I like that scene in them acquiring what they needed. They're trying to exfil. They start taking a couple of losses, and Dillinger's like, "Nah, cut my losses," because it plays into Ares development of, well, what do you fucking, I was trying to carry this dude out who lost a leg. I went back for him. Everybody else fucking bailed. And then you nuked us. Like, you dick.
Yeah. So what that would
I
play
thought that played out
into
well.
in a real life hacking situation is that you tried to destroy what you did, any logs, anything that you would have changed. Like if you went and changed the registry, it would make a log common in a system log change. You go in there and you try to delete that log. With him having ARES and the team still inside their server, inside their firewall, it's what you would call persistence. And that's how he was able to get in there and drop the payload that destroyed both the security programs and his own programs. So it would cover their tracks of him hacking their server, which I like. If you looked at the details and the intricacies of this, you would know that this was very well done. Like they had to have some tech guys on hand who understand this. Yes, because it is a very
so what you're saying is
delicate type situation when you're inside of another person's network.
So what you're saying is that they put a little bit more effort into it than the Sandra Bullock movie, The Net, is what you're trying to say. Well, maybe just a smidge.
Well, and also the 90s
so no one runs around. Right. no one runs around streams, hack the planet. No, that did not happen.
That did not happen.
Not that I saw. Maybe in the version King Z saw. I thought you would get when I thought of you when I was in the movie and seeing that scene. I bet he's getting a kick out of seeing what it looks like from the inside. Because like my view on that is, the only time I ever have that kind of situation where is in like Cyberpunk, like playing the game where there's like all the stupid puzzle things that you have to do that mimic doing like running through nodes and doing all that kind of doing brute force and like workarounds or whatever the lingo is, you know. Yeah. So I figured you get a kick out of seeing it visually represented, and then having story impact on the characters that we're going to see going forward. He lost a buddy in that exchange.
And I think that the way they did it for people like me, it was perfect. But I think it's easier for people who don't understand cybersecurity and hacking.
The visual.
They did like this mystical thing, you know, a little PFM, which is pure freaking magic.
No.
It did it like a special ops mission or like a heist type mission. So the way they did it for normals or who aren't in IT, I think it also plays quite well for them as well.
Yeah, I thought that worked, and that brings us to the to the debate portion of the show now. So I think that this movie stumbled. I think a decent stumble to the movie here is how they enter and exit the grid, because I saw two characters, one human, one program. They're called programs, right? Like
programs,
ARES
yes.
Is a program.
Greeting program.
Welcome user. They kidnap Evie.
Yes.
They use and I quote, a reverse flow particle laser. They basically Ghostbuster her ass, right? They transport her to the grid.
Yes.
And make her into a profile, right?
Yes.
Where she can die.
Yes.
Right? Because if they take the code out of her, they're like, oh no, it'll kill her. And then Dylan's just like, fuck her, kill her, get the code, right?
Yep.
But then she gets back to the real world and is no longer a program. She's a human when she gets back. Okay. So that said, how does this world exist where they have the technology that they can literally convert matter to energy and back wherever they want and that not be a transporter? Because they can literally just build one of those 3D printing bases wherever they want and fucking exfil you out of the grid from base A to the grid to base B. How is that not a transporter?
Because one, they haven't built that, and two, you would have to have a network connection. They had to have a network connection, and this is the part where you couldn't just connect Flynn's server. Like they couldn't just go into Flynn's server. They had to build it a direct connect into it because it wasn't on the network. If you don't have a network, you can't transfer data. Remember when they were falling out of the window and you saw those big carts that were carrying like this long trail of like train? That is a packet. And a packet has certain different type of addresses and it travels the way it's traveling. Once again, perfect visuals.
Yeah. Evie even references that too. She's like, I was in a digital world and I saw packets with light. And she even says it.
Yeah.
You even called it out.
So for it to work as a transporter, you saw that there was only one transport big light that they saw that he was staring at. So they all get to the the 3D printer.
The thing that looked like the waterfall?
Yes.
Okay.
They have to get to that to get out on that printer. So when they're ordered and he's there typing on his keyboard and then he prints them out on his big 3D printer platform there, they all have to go through that connection. So if you don't have that connection everywhere, you're not going to be able to.
What's stopping me from having the connection everywhere is my
communications and point B using a wide area network to make it happen. You can't just transport. Like you can't just go into the grid and like, okay, I'm going to walk over here and then I'm in New Zealand.
I'm saying no, but this is what I'm saying. Like why doesn't it work in this world that if you particle laser people from our world to the grid, you can't then just have network points wherever you want them to exfil wherever you want. When you jump in the waterfall, you can't have a predetermined exit to where they want to go because they exited to different places.
That is
how did they?
No, they didn't. They didn't exit to different places. That
when
one
Evie
waterfall.
Got out, where was she?
The first time she did, they were printed inside where the server was. That she got
Villager base,
yeah,
right? Because then they just walked out somehow.
So the laser he had was a first of its gen type laser, and it was wirelessly connected back to the main the ARES network. We're just called the ARES network because I'm tired of talking. So it was it was wired back to the ARES network.
Okay.
So that's where she ended up. When she went out of it, the only way she could go is the ARES 3D printer on the thing. When she went, that's where they printed at. Just remember they stole the Jeep from there. He pushed the security guard. So that's why they ended up right there, because that's the only way out. And the only reason why ARES went in one way in the Flynn network and one way out. There's two ways into the Flynn network. One going straight into a server, and two, his backup server that is hidden inside Flynn's arcade, which always has power, which they hint at in Tron Legacy, that this site was bought by Incom, and it's always required to have power. And in the back, you see his server up in his particle accelerator back that way. So it's always on. So that's how he got out. And he was at a different transport tunnel when he was with Flynn. And then him doing the whole putting his
that was classic move, right?
Yep, classic move going out. Because those also are where they could talk to users. So like if I got on and I was working with a program, they would come to one of those points, they would access up, and that's where I had access to them. Now in the more recent world, you have it where they can directly access to him, and that's where you saw his face talking to him.
Yeah, there was the Great Wizard of Oz face.
Yeah.
True. All right.
So technically you could do it, but you would have to build a connection to wherever that new server is. You would have to transport along that, not knowing how long it will take, because and then you have to get there and then go outside that exit portal.
I guess what I'm saying is this. With you saying at least, I guess they could. What I'm saying is that for story stakes in the world, at the exact moment somebody figures out that they could, though, how is that not a groundbreaking situation for that world that's infinitely more valuable than building a better soldier?
At one, they have to check for corruption of the people, because they did that with Eve, and they brought her back. Is there any corruption?
Yeah, that's right. True. That would make for a good story, dude. That's the next Tron story I want to see. Then I want to see the story where they're on the brink of this new badass Star Trek technology that's just going to move people to fucking Mars or whatever. But then the corruption thing becomes a problem, and it gets tried to get covered up. And then there's this and there's that, and who's responsible? I want that next movie. That's cyberpunky Tron, dude. That sounds great.
I don't think that would work with like Mars or the moon, because one.
I just picked something, dude. New Zealand. I don't care.
Yeah, it would probably have to be terrestrial, because you're going to have to trust the mode of transportation, which fiber over wireless is always going to be more reliable. Satellite communication, which is even less than wireless.
What about subspace? I'm talking Trek now. I mean, there's ways. But yeah, so New Zealand, Florida.
Yeah, you'll have to say terrestrial. If you go extraterrestrial, you're going to have communication issues, and you will have packet corruption. That's the difference.
You will not get where you're going.
And that's the difference between the two different protocols that are out there, UDP and TCP. TCP guarantees that every packet is accounted for, and and put into the proper sequence, because it's a 3-way handshake to even make a connection, and then they start sending packets, and it does, and then it starts counting packets, and then it sends back, hey, we're missing packet 26 and 27. They learned this mistake when they tried to put the very first Victoria's Secret Angel Day on the internet, and they used TCP protocol so it would be more secure to broadcast this. It failed miserably because TCP has packet counts. UDP is like taking a handful of BBs and throwing them at the wall, and whatever sticks, that's what gets there. And that's where your voice and video communication comes from. It's a UDP type protocol that uses that. I'm sorry that I'm getting really techy and very into this. I did not mean to do this. This was not a tech channel, but this is what I do for a living. So I have a working knowledge of all of this.
Now, I'm going to put this in real world terms for everybody else. See, Kingsley just explained the tech side. The real world application of losing packets 26 and 27 is you swear to God you shot that guy in fucking COD and he did not die, and it's because your bullets never were counted. That's why.
Yep.
That's bad. You thought you were around the corner. You thought you were.
You want to know what caused latency? That's it.
Dude, that's why I said I'm gonna give them the real world example. Dude, there's now 10 million people watching the channel. Oh, all right, that should work. I get
people the guns don't kill people. Latency.
The latency. Although, you know, they did just switch COD back to a ping is king footing. So every game I played in the beta last week was like a ping 19. It was pretty slapping, dude. Not that I want to get sidelined by FPS games.
And real quick, just to let you know, that is also based on who is the party leader of where your ping come from.
Fact. That's why I was going solo. So it was mine. It was 19. It was good. Battlefield's been playing pretty good too in terms of connection. Side issue there. Yeah, dude, I don't have a whole lot else to say about Tron. I didn't think I was going to have that much to say, and the tech demo was important to help me understand some of the limitations in story. I think we arrived at a good common ground where I said, I think you're coming away defeated. You're not defeated, but I'm not gonna concede ground. It could be possible in their world, and that's all I wanted to hear.
I need a championship belt. Just hold that bad boy up.
Dude, we should get channel belts. We already got the one gift coming. We should 100% get belts.
Yeah, just I am the undefeated, reigning.
You put a tie on there though.
Hey, even in a count out,
you still can say undefeated.
A belt.
Yeah, that's right. You can still say undefeated if it's a tie.
Yeah, that's
right.
We
got no decision. That's it. Yeah, see, still champion.
The reigning, defending, undisputed champion
with a tie. But it's like having an asterisk though. A tie is like an asterisk by your stats, dude. Let's we haven't done scores in a hot minute. We don't need the barbecue rating, but like how high on this movie are you out of 10? Did it pop the needle? Okay.
It popped it for me. I enjoyed this movie from start to finish. I would highly recommend this movie to anyone who asked me to see it. Boom.
True.
I don't have to say anything else.
No, you said 8.9, like 8.9 or 8 or 9. Like
8 or 9.
8 or 9. Okay, so that's pretty high up there because I don't think we're ever really dealing out 10s or 1s on this channel. I think that's objectively stupid to go max high or max low. Dude,
unless it's like Back to the Future or Citizen Kane.
Of course, as soon as you said Back to the Future, I'm like, I'm an asshole. 10. That's 10. That's easy 10. You know, I can't give it an 8 or a 9. I feel like I waited for more things to happen, but I also can't, in good faith, drop this any lower than like a 7. Maybe 6. Maybe I'll go 6 or 7. It moved through. The music bumps. It did get loud. Be warned, if you're a Northeasterner like myself and you roll into a Regal, maybe it's the X Plus format that did it. The sound systems were weird. A lot of times that Bangin' 9 Inch Nails score overpowered literal dialogue that I wanted to hear. Not just like it wasn't just bumping between like travel scenes. Like, no, there's one particular escape sequence. I'm like, I feel like they're giving me mission critical information here, but I'm only hearing like every 14th word for like 5 minutes. So it's kind of like, oh, come on, man, to turn the fucking volume down, please, just a little bit, you know. But I thought otherwise performance was mostly good. Effects wise, I can't say that enough. If you signed up for Tron, it's probably this is going to make you happy. The light, I'm just calling them the light effects, regardless of what they were. We didn't talk tech. The tech is pretty badass. You get jetpacks, hovercrafts, you get the big recognizer tanks, the light cycles, old and new with classic.
Yeah, they went back to the 80s in this one. It was
pretty,
really
it was pretty good.
Even with the one bit.
It was pretty good. He's like, hey, it's a bit. I'm like, oh, that's clever. I see what you did there. I thought, yeah, so it looked good. It sounded good. Performances, hit or miss, depending on your take on certain people. Story, again, I'll wrap it up and say, I don't get people saying that it's a story that goes nowhere. It went exactly where I thought it was going to go 10 minutes into the movie. I mean, if anything, it's a bit predictable, honestly. And
when it comes to story, you have to measure it on, is the main character or the center of focus different from where they were when they began? The only ones who didn't change was her personal assistant and the other CEO. ARES changed. The CEO changed. And then also Eve changed. So therefore, they all filled their story arc.
Yep. I think and all the endings made sense. Ares' ending made sense. Eve's ending made sense. Athena's ending made sense. Dillinger's ending made sense and sets up another movie for people that are going to be likely the 86%, again, 86% audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
I just hope it doesn't take another 15 years. I would like them to take at least 5.
I was going to say 5 is where I want.
Another 15.
I think that's an important thing to talk about too, is that like when we're talking about building franchises, that doesn't need to mean annual installment. That does not need to be 2 movies a year and a Disney Plus. I don't want a Disney Plus Tron show.
No,
please spare me. I don't want that. 5 years, put it in the cooker for a while. Dude, do nothing for a year.
Yeah.
Earn your money. Don't go to fucking streaming in 3 weeks and make no money aftermarket, or they got secondary market. Put it on premium video on demand in like a month and a half, some out in time for Christmas or something. I don't know. Enjoy that and then start cooking up ideas. Read some spec strip. We say this all the time too, like, because you can make this connection to like things like Alien Earth. Like it felt like another show and they were like xenomorph into your show on robots. Like go get a sci-fi spec script that you think you could give the cyberpunk treatment and there's your Tron movie. Like it's a thing. You could go do that.
You
pick
can.
a good one.
Just be original.
You know what I'm saying? And this dude, and we're not suffering for lack of spec scripts. They're written every day. And because and then there's lots of garbage. Believe me, we've read a lot of them.
I wrote a lot of them.
I wrote a lot of them, but there's a lot of garbage out there. But there's also good stuff out there that gets passed over because it isn't attached to an IP. So all the risk aversion shit comes into play. But you know what? Can you make a Tron movie, I guess, would be the last question for you for the evening on Tron. Can you make a Tron movie for less than $200 million at this point? Or does the over-reliance on CGI need to be a thing?
This movie's budget was $170 million.
That they're reporting. We'll see how much. I'll have to take their word for it, I guess. But then that's fair. You know what I mean? If you can come in at 150, 170, and that's legit, you keep your marketing in check. What do you think this movie earns out?
I think it will be about 500.
Okay, so if we take the 175 and double it, that's fair. That's not a bad little. That's 200 mil. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not a bad little pocket.
Yeah, I think run right about. I don't think it'll make a bill, but I think
no.
500 is respectable.
I think the $1 billion movie thing is over until Avatar shows up and you get another Deadpool and Wolverine or another Spider-Man movie. I don't even think Doomsday's hit $1 billion.
Or another Mario Brothers.
I mean, Sonic, like those 2 kid franchises could probably do it. But the kind of stuff we go in for, like central to the channel here, I think those days are over. The superhero craze that was getting a bill was it. I think they need to scale down. We talk about that all the time. If Tron really came in at 175 and their marketing's respectable and they clear 500, 550, that's a good day. That's a good day at the office.
All right. So we talked just about an hour and we should have done this earlier. But if you did like this review, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can always get this great content. Hit that thumbs up because that really does help us. It helps us more than anything else. And 2, hit that notification button so you don't miss FrostCast every Wednesday, 9 to whenever we get done.
Or whenever I call for an impromptu live session and people stroll in like, oh, hey, you guys are on. Sweet.
Yeah, we appreciate you did jump in. We did not have many viewers, but we do appreciate every one of you spending your time with us. Your Saturday night listening to these 2 guys talk about a bunch of nonsense.
Some more than others. Yeah, that's what I do here. It's what I do. But all right, we're gonna say goodnight, boys. We got other stuff to do. Something about playing music, dude. Your finger's not even on the screen. If you're gonna do it, at least there. It's like it was a shock.
That guy.
There you go. All right, roll us up out of here. I gotta go put a kid to bed. He's out of bed and gonna get yelled at.
All right.
See ya.
Hit my music.
Quietly the